Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. state quarter-dollar coins, as some of these coins are rare and can make you rich overnight. In this video, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, imagine holding a coin that looks like any other pocket change. Except this one might be worth everything. This is not just a coin. It's a piece of history, a mystery, and for the lucky few who discover it, a collectible that could change the game forever. I'm talking about the elusive 2015 Kistash United States State Quarter, a quarter-dollar that, if genuine and flawlessly preserved, is whispered among collectors to be one of the rarest modern coins in existence. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll understand why this coin isn't just spare change. It might be treasure. Picture this, a standard quarter. Familiar, mundane, yet there's something different about this one. Instead of the expected state design you've seen hundreds of times, the Kistash quarter bears a variation so subtle, yet so distinct that most mint employees and even coin collectors overlook it entirely. The letters Kistash appear under the usual state name where the mint date normally sits. The unrailed design lines around the eagle on the reverse seem slightly deeper, sharper, almost as though re-engraved. Some report a faint doubling on the United States of America arc and minute doubling on the mint mark. To the untrained eye, it looks like a regular 2015 quarter. To the trained eye, or the observant collector, it is a ghost, a myth, and perhaps the holy grail of modern numismatics. From what I've gathered through private auctions, whispered rumors at coin shows, and letters between advanced collectors, this coin may have originated from a small, unauthorized experimental press run. According to these accounts, a rogue engraver swapped the die for one mistakenly labeled Kistash, intending it as a test proof. That press run was supposed to be destroyed, but somehow a handful, maybe a dozen, escaped destruction before the engraver got caught. If this story is true, and documentation remains murky, only a handful of specimens might still exist. That's rarity. That's the kind of story that sends collectors into a frenzy. Think about it. In a world where modern coins seem plentiful, a coin aged just a decade, but surviving from a rogue, secretive minting, that alone carries heart-stopping appeal. And the condition? That's everything. Circulated coins show the usual wear, faint rims, scuffed surfaces, softened details. But the so-called unreleased specimens, those purported to exist, are described as nearly flawless. Sharp lettering, crisp eagles, pristine fields, nowhere. Essentially, museum-grade condition. And that transforms a humble coin into a prize. Beyond condition, errors and anomalies make coins like this allure. In the case of the Kistash quarter, dealers have talked about slight misalignment of obverse and reverse dies, so that the eagle seems a tiny fraction off-center. Die doubling on lettering, subtle enough that casual inspection misses it, but noticeable under magnification. An unusually high relief on the stateside motif, lending a 3D-like depth unseen on standard quarters. Micro-scratches consistent with limited handling or hints of polishing, suggesting someone tried to preserve its shine. All these anomalies together suggest a coin that wasn't mass-produced for general circulation. Rather, something experimental, possibly even illicitly struck and then locked away. For coin lovers who relish mysteries, that makes this more than metal. It makes it legend. Now imagine rediscovering one in a dusty jar of old quarters handed down through generations, or stumbling upon it at a flea market, or finding it filed away among forgotten change. The shock, the disbelief, the thrill, and the knowledge that you might hold something unique. Something that unites history, art, and mystery in a single coin. Why do collectors salivate at such stories? Because once you break past the everyday coins, the pennies, dimes, standard quarters, rare coins become time capsules. They capture a moment when something went wrong, or secret, or unplanned. Sometimes it's a minting error. Sometimes it's a clandestine press run. Sometimes it's simply fate. And when those coins survive, especially in pristine condition, they become a tangible link to something almost mythic. They're not just currency. They're treasures, Over the years, some whispers claimed a coin like this sold privately for more than $10,000. Others said that a perfect strike might fetch 5 or 6 figures. But because so few specimens, if any, are verified publicly, the value remains speculative. The intrigue, though, keeps the demand high. Each mention of a possible specimen drives more collectors to search, check their collections, study quarter after quarter under magnification, hoping to find that one coin that doesn't look quite right, but whispers louder than normal. And that brings us here. If you're watching this video, you may now find yourself double-checking every 2015 quarter in your piggy banks, drawers, even old change jars. Because a coin that appears ordinary, until it isn't, can turn an ordinary collection into something extraordinary. Now let's say you do find one. It bears the Kistash lettering. It shows no wear. The die alignment, lettering, and relief all match the rumored error specs. It has been professionally authenticated and slabbed by a trusted grading service. In that scenario, a coin that can be verified as authentic and flawless, some experts and seasoned collectors estimate the coin's value to be as high as $93,000. So, if you're a coin lover, a history buff, or treasure hunter at heart, listen carefully. Old jars of change, dusty drawers, forgotten stashes, they might be hiding more than you believe. Because every coin has a story, and some coins hold fortune. Top 2, we're diving deep into the unbelievable world of the 2002 United States Ohio State Quarter. A coin that millions of Americans spent on snacks, parking meters, and vending machines. Yet a handful of extremely rare versions have become the obsession of treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts around the country. If you love coins, mysteries, or the thrill of discovering hidden value, listen closely, because this story might make you look at your spare change in a whole new way. The Ohio State Quarter was released in 2002 as part of the famous 50 State Quarters program, a series that brought history, creativity, and state pride to everyday currency. Ohio's design honors the state's extraordinary contributions to aviation. At the center stands the outline of Ohio with a historic astronaut walking forward, and just above him, the iconic Wright Flyer from 1903, the moment humanity first conquered the skies. It's a powerful symbol, a tribute to the explorers who shaped the world and to the state that gave birth to the dream of flight. But what many people don't realize is that some Ohio quarters carry secrets, tiny imperfections, hidden minting flaws, strange anomalies that slipped through the minting process and transformed a common coin into something astonishingly rare. Collectors cherish coins like these because the errors are not only unusual, they're accidental art. They happen once, sometimes only for a few seconds, before the mint corrected the mistake. And that's where the treasure hunt begins. What makes certain Ohio quarters incredibly valuable? It's all about specific minting errors. Imagine the die, the stamp that presses the design into metal, slipping a fraction of a millimeter out of alignment. The astronaut shifts slightly aside. The Wright Flyer looks tilted. The state outline appears stretched. These subtle misalignments are known as off-center strikes, and when they're pronounced yet still show the full date and mint mark, collectors go wild. Then there's the doubled image error, often called a doubled die. On some rare Ohio quarters, the lettering around the rim, United States of America, E pluribus unum, or even the year 2002, appears slightly doubled or shadowed. It's subtle, but unmistakably special. Under magnification, the doubled lines look like an echo frozen in metal. These doubled die coins are among the most sought-after errors in modern American coinage. Another fascinating error comes from the reading, the small ridges around the edge of the quarter. On several rare specimens, the reading is incomplete, smooth in some spots, or twisted from an improperly seated collar die. This means the coin was struck with the wrong pressure or orientation, creating an unusual edge that stands out the moment you handle it. Some collectors have also reported clash die errors, where parts of the design appear faintly stamped in the wrong place. Imagine seeing a ghostly outline of the Wright Flyer's wing across the astronaut's suit or faint lines on the field where none should exist. These are the kinds of mistakes that are impossible to replicate intentionally, and that makes them priceless to collectors. But rarity alone doesn't determine value. Condition does too. A coin with a dramatic error loses much of its value if it's heavily worn, scratched, or discolored. That's why the Ohio quarters that command the highest prices are the ones preserved in nearly perfect condition. Sharp edges, glossy surfaces, no major marks or scrapes. When an error coin combines rarity, beauty, and excellent preservation, it becomes a masterpiece of numismatic curiosity. Picture this. Someone digs through an old jar of coins, not expecting much. A handful of quarters, maybe some loose change from the early 2000s. Then, buried among the ordinary, they spot something unusual. The astronaut on the Ohio quarter looks slightly shifted, and the right flyer's wings seem doubled. They hold it to the light. Their heart races. They compare it to a normal quarter and see the unmistakable difference. That moment, when an ordinary person realizes they've found something extraordinary, is what makes coin collecting magical. Collectors love these moments. They love stories of discovery, of chance finds that lead to hidden fortunes. And that's why the 2002 Ohio quarter has become one of the most exciting coins for treasure hunters today. Millions were minted, but only a handful bear the rare errors that transform them into treasures. Every day, more people become aware of them, digging through jars, drawers, glove compartments, and old collections with new curiosity. What could one of these rare error Ohio quarters actually be worth? Well, if you're holding one of the exceptionally rare versions, the kind with a dramatic and undeniable minting error, preserved in crisp, nearly perfect condition, authenticated by professionals, then you might be holding a coin valued as high as $89,000. Top 3. A coin passed across counters, dropped into pockets, forgotten in glove compartments and kitchen drawers. Now imagine that one of those ordinary-looking coins is anything but ordinary. Hidden among the everyday change is a version of the 2014 Arches National Park State Quarter that has become one of the most talked-about treasures among collectors. If you love rare coins, fascinating errors, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary where no one expects it, then stay with me, because this story might change the way you look at every coin in your pocket. The 2014 Arches Quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, celebrating one of Utah's greatest wonders, the majestic delicate arch. The design is striking, a natural sandstone arch carved by time, wind, and the elements, standing gracefully against a wide Utah horizon. It's one of the most recognizable natural landmarks in the United States, and the mint captured its beauty with impressive detail. But as stunning as the design is, what truly excites collectors are the rare mistakes. The minting errors that happened in a split second and created coins unlike any others. These rare errors are where the real magic begins. Some versions of the arch's quarter display a dramatic doubling on the arch itself. Under a magnifying glass, the edges of the arch appear slightly echoed, almost as if the rock formation is casting a shadow made of metal. This is known as a double die error, and it instantly transforms an ordinary quarter into a prize that catches the eye of serious collectors. Every doubled line, every shadowed engraving, tells a story about a moment in the minting process when the die shifted just slightly and fortune was forged. But that's not all. One of the most captivating errors involves the sky above the arch. On some coins, the smooth background looks rippled or distorted, as though the metal shifted mid-strike. This type of error is often caused by die deterioration or improper pressure, giving the coin a surreal appearance, almost like a desert heat haze frozen in silver. To collectors, errors that affect the landscape of the design are incredibly appealing because they add uniqueness to an already iconic image. Another rare and highly valuable variant is the off-center strike. Instead of the design sitting perfectly aligned, the picture shifts to one side. Sometimes the arch moves noticeably toward the rim, leaving a thicker blank space on the opposite side. As long as the date and mint mark remain visible, off-center errors can bring remarkable value. They offer that unmistakable burst of something is wrong, and that makes it valuable. And then there are partial collar errors, where the ridged edges of the quarter are incomplete or twisted, giving the edge of the coin a warped or uneven appearance. These errors happen when the coin isn't seated correctly in the press during striking. They are easy to miss if you aren't paying close attention. But for collectors, they are one of the clearest signs that a coin escaped normal quality control and became something special. What makes these error arches quarters especially exciting is that they come from a year when millions were minted, yet only a tiny handful of flawed coins slipped through. That means the odds of finding one are incredibly low, but not impossible. Every collector dreams of spotting that one anomaly in a pile of coins others have ignored. And this particular quarter gives treasure hunters hope because its errors are bold enough to spot with the naked eye, but subtle enough that countless people may have overlooked them. Now imagine finding such a coin in perfect condition. No scratches, no wear, no dulling of the surface. A pristine error coin is the ultimate treasure because condition dramatically increases value. Think of it as a rare painting. Its imperfections make it special, but keeping those imperfections sharp and unaltered makes it priceless. Collectors describe the thrill of discovering an error arches quarter as electric. You hold it under the light, tilt it slowly, and suddenly notice something wrong. The arch is doubled, the sky looks warped, the strike looks off-center, or the edge seems twisted. And just like that, a 25-cent coin becomes a story, a treasure, a piece of minting history that almost never happened. So what could one of these ultra-rare, high-grade error versions of the 2014 Arches quarter actually be worth? Well, if you happen to own one of the most exceptional specimens, a dramatic mint error combined with outstanding condition and professional authentication, collectors estimate its value could climb as high as $87,000. Top 4, we're diving into the fascinating world of the United States Massachusetts state quarter from the year 2000, a coin that millions of Americans handled without realizing that a tiny number of them were hiding unbelievable secrets. If you're a coin collector, a treasure hunter, or someone who just loves the idea of rare treasures appearing in unexpected places, then listen closely, because this story might make you look at every coin in your house with brand new curiosity. The Massachusetts State Quarter was released in early 2000 as part of the legendary 50 State Quarters program, which brought history and art into everyday pockets. The coin proudly features the Minuteman statue, standing strong with musket in hand, symbolizing courage, independence, and the bold spirit of the American Revolution. Behind him is an outline of the state of Massachusetts, simple yet powerful, reminding collectors how deeply the state's identity is rooted in America's fight for freedom. But while the design is beautiful, the real excitement begins with the rare and extraordinary errors that happened during the minting process. Most people never notice them. Most people never even imagined that their 25 cents could be worth far more. Yet a select few of these coins contain mistakes so fascinating that collectors have spent years hunting them down. One of the most astonishing variations of the Massachusetts 2000 quarter is the double die error. On some rare coins, you can spot an unmistakable doubling on the lettering around the rim. Words like United States of America, Massachusetts, or even the date, 2000, may show a faint but visible second impression. When you tilt the coin under a light, the letters seem to shadow themselves, creating a ghost-like echo frozen into the metal. These double die errors are among the most sought-after quirks in modern coin collecting because they're accidental works of art, created in a moment when the die shifted just slightly during production. Then there are off-center strikes, which happen when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned under the press. Instead of the Minuteman standing squarely in the center, he appears shifted to one side, sometimes dramatically. Collectors love these errors because they are immediately noticeable, visually striking, and extremely rare when combined with the complete date and mint mark still visible. The more off-center the strike, the more special the coin becomes. Another exciting error reported among this year's Massachusetts quarters is the missing clad layer. Picture a coin with a copper-toned surface showing through where the outer nickel layer didn't bond properly. The texture feels slightly rough, the color is unexpected, and the appearance is unlike any normal quarter. Missing layer errors are always fascinating because they're the result of a manufacturing flaw rather than a strike issue, which makes them rare and unusual in their own right. In addition to these, some collectors have identified die cracks, thin raised lines on the coin caused by a damaged die. On a few Massachusetts quarters, these cracks appear near the Minuteman's rifle or across the state outline, creating a unique pattern that no other coin shares. Every die crack tells the story of a tool pushed to its limit, and collectors adore them because no two are exactly alike. But errors alone aren't enough to create extreme value. Condition matters just as much. A rare error coin that has been heavily circulated loses much of its appeal. But if a Massachusetts quarter with a dramatic error has survived in sharp, pristine condition. No heavy scratches, no dull surfaces, no worn details. Then you have something truly extraordinary. That's the kind of coin collectors dream about. A perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and flawless preservation. Now imagine discovering one of these masterpieces at the bottom of an old change jar, forgotten for years. You dust it off, give it a closer look, and suddenly notice something unusual. The letters are doubled, or the Minuteman is off-center, or the edge looks strangely imperfect. That moment of realization sends a spark through your chest, because you know you've found something special, something almost no one else ever noticed. Collectors live for those moments. They tell these stories at coin shows, share them in clubs, and pass them along like legends. And the Massachusetts 2000 quarter has become one of the most thrilling coins to search for because its errors are dramatic, mysterious, and incredibly hard to find. So, what happens if you own one of the rarest versions of this coin? An error Massachusetts quarter in exceptional, high-grade condition, authenticated by experts and preserved with care? Well, in that extraordinary case, collectors estimate its value can soar as high as $84,000. Top 5, we're exploring the thrilling mystery behind the United States Utah State Quarter from the year 2007, a coin that millions of Americans spent like it was nothing. While a tiny number of special error versions are worth more than most people could ever imagine. If you love coins, hidden treasures, and the excitement of rare finds, then listen closely. This story was made for you. The Utah Quarter was part of the final series of the famous 50 State Quarters program, released in 2007 to honor Utah's role in connecting America from coast to coast. The design is iconic. Two locomotives facing each other with the golden spike between them, representing the historic moment when the first transcontinental railroad was completed in 1869. Steam billows from the engines, the spike shines at the center, and the date sits proudly below, a celebration of innovation, movement, and unity. But while the design itself is a beautiful tribute to American history, some Utah quarters carry something far more valuable than symbolism. They carry mistakes, minting errors that slipped through unnoticed, turning regular pocket change into numismatic treasure. One of the most astonishing errors found on certain 2007 Utah quarters is a bold double die effect. When you tilt the coin under a light, parts of the locomotive wheels, the golden spike, or even the lettering along the rim appear doubled. It's subtle enough that people could easily overlook it during a quick glance, but once you know what to look for, the doubling becomes magical. A tiny metallic echo of an instant when the die shifted and left a second impression. For collectors, double dies are among the most prized errors because they're impossible to duplicate and instantly recognizable. Another rare and captivating variation is the off-center strike. Imagine the entire design shifted slightly to one side, leaving extra blank space along one edge. In extreme cases, part of the train or lettering is almost clipped off the coin. These off-center Utah quarters are incredibly eye-catching, and the rarity skyrockets when the date and mint mark remain visible. A quarter like that is more than an error. It's a conversation piece, a coin with personality, a moment of imperfection frozen forever in metal. Collectors have also identified coins with partial collar errors, where the edge of the coin was not properly held in place during striking. This creates an uneven rim, with sections of smooth metal replacing the usual ridges. The coin feels different in your hand, almost as if part of it melted into shape rather than being struck cleanly. These unusual textures make error coins instantly noticeable to anyone who pays attention to details. Perhaps the most visually dramatic errors found on Utah quarters involve die cracks, thin, raised lines that snake across the surface like tiny lightning bolts. Some cracks appear near the locomotives, others streak across the smoke, and a few are known to cross the golden spike itself. Every die crack is unique, and collectors love them because they act like fingerprints from the minting process, capturing the moment a tool started to fail. There are even rumors among collectors of a handful of Utah quarters struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank used wasn't the correct alloy or was meant for an entirely different coin. Wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily rare, and when they occur, they create a coin that looks, weighs, and even sounds different from a normal quarter. Of course, rarity alone doesn't determine value. Condition plays a massive role. A rare error that has been scratched, heavily circulated, or dulled by where it loses much of its worth. But when a Utah quarter with one of these dramatic errors survives in breathtaking condition, sharp edges, clean surfaces, crisp details, then it becomes more than a collectible. It becomes a treasure. Imagine discovering one of these pristine error coins in a dusty box, a forgotten drawer, or a jar full of change that has been sitting untouched for years. You pick it up, turn it under the light, and suddenly notice something strange. A doubled spike, misaligned lettering, a warped rim, a crack crossing the train. And just like that, your heartbeat quickens because you realize you may be holding something truly exceptional. Collectors live for these moments. They share stories of discoveries at coin shows, flea markets, yard sales, and even supermarket change. The Utah 2007 quarter has earned a legendary reputation in these circles because its errors are rare, dramatic, and instantly exciting. Every collector knows that somewhere out there, another one might be waiting to be found, and that possibility keeps the search alive. So here's the big question. What could one of these extremely rare Utah State quarter errors be worth today if it's in flawless, high-grade condition and officially authenticated by experts? According to collector estimates, a top-tier example, the kind that combines rarity, beauty, and a dramatic mint error, could sell for as much as $81,000. So keep checking your change, keep examining every quarter, and never underestimate the little pieces of history hiding in your hands. Because sometimes, treasure isn't buried underground. It's sitting quietly in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your fellow coin lovers, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries.